the one that spinsters recommend. Just name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maid and aunts and she'll match him up. Call on Dolly if your eldest daughter needs a friend. Just name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maid and aunts and she'll match him up. Call on
Dolly Levi. That's right, Mrs. Dolly Levi. Born Gallagher. Social introductions. Ladies and gentlemen of excellent family, introduced under the most respectable conditions in an atmosphere of elegance and refinement. Object matrimony. Unfortunately, I won't be able to offer my usual lightning service today as I have a previous appointment in Yonkers, New York, arranging the second marriage of Mr. Horace Vandergelder, the well-known half-a-millionaire. As my late husband, Ephraim Levi, always says, that means he's got at least $60,000 cash. But I'll do my best to have you carried across somebody's threshold before the week is out. Now, I might also mention I'm available for short-distance hauling, instruction in the guitar and mandolin, and varicose veins reduced.
Call on Dolly. She's the one the spinsters recommend. Just name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maid and aunts and she'll match him up. Call on Dolly.
Mrs. Levi, the train for Yonkers is in 5 minutes, and if we don't get there on time...
But we will, Mr. Kemper, and not only will Mr. Horace Vandergelder give you permission to marry his niece Ermengarde, but he'll also dance at your wedding. And not alone either, because I happen to be arranged in finding him a suitable second wife himself. What he really wants is somebody steady to clean the house. As my late husband Ephraim Levi always said, marriage is a bribe to make a housekeeper think she's a householder.
I know all about it, Mrs. Levi. Half of New York says he's going to propose to Mrs. Irene Malloy this very afternoon.
Which is exactly why I'm on my way to Yonkers this morning and can take on your case and knock off 4 love's birds with 1 stone, or whatever I'll throw. I'll see. And, well, well, well. What do you think of that? I have nothing to pay my train fare with. Only large bills. 5s and 7s.
Well, I've got change here somewhere, Mrs. Levi. I only hope it's not a wild goose chase.
Speaking of poultry, I'm also available for fresh Jersey eggs, surgical corsets reboned, ears pierced, pierced ears replugged.
Mrs. Levi.
Name the kind of man your sister wants and she'll snatch him up. Don't forget to bring your maid and aunts and she'll match him up. Call on Dolly.
Tell me, Mrs. Levi, what's in all this for you?
A living, Mr. Kemper. Some people paint, some sew, I meddle. I have always been a woman who arranges things for the pleasure and the profit it derives. I have always been a woman who arranges things like sculpture and daffodils and lives. When a man with a timid tongue meets a girl with a diffident air, why should the tortured creatures beat around the bush when heaven knows Mother Nature always needs a little push? So I put my hand in, I
Levi.
Don't you worry, you go aboard, buy a window seat, and I'll meet you there. Ephraim Levi, I'm going to get married again. I'm going to marry Horace Vandergelder for his money and send it out circulating among the people like rainwater the way you taught me. And I want a sign from you sometime today that you'll approve. Oh, it won't be a marriage in the way that we had one, but I shall certainly make him happy. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of living from hand to mouth, so I want that sign.
Miss Levi.
Sometime today, don't you worry. You'll marry Ermengarde, just leave everything to me. Pinky wiggles, some young maiden gets the giggles. Then I make my knuckles active. Ma, he says she's so attractive. Then I use my index digit. Then they both began to fidget. Then I punch my palm. The preacher reads a psalm when I put my hand in there.
How am I supposed to play Yonkers, my Yonkers, with all that bellowing in my ears?
I can't help it, Uncle. I love Ambrose Kemper.
And I say you're too young to be in love. Here, take this.
I'm not too young. I'm 17, and in another year, I'll be an old maid.
Dare to be an old maid, Ermengarde, and I'll cut you off without a cent. Now, don't cry in front of the store.
I can't help it. I'm unhappy.
Then by thunder, you'll go to New York, and you can weep and wail all you want. Now go upstairs and start packing your trunk. And don't get tears in the logs. It was just oil. Cornelius Barnaby!
You stamp, Mr. Vandergelder?
I did. I'm going to New York this afternoon, the marching the 14th Street Association Parade. When I come back, you're going to have a mistress.
Oh, I can't, Mr. Vandergelder. I'm too young.
Not yours, fire and damnation, mine. When I come back, you're going to be, and I've decided to promote you, Cornelius Hackle, to chief clerk.
Well, what am I now?
You're an impertinent fool, that's what you are. Any more questions?
Yes.
What?
Does chief clerk get one evening free a week?
So that's the way you thank me for this promotion? No, you'll attend the store as usual. No, get back to work. And don't forget to put the letter on the sheep dip. Evenings off, marrying artists, foolishness. Why, even I was young once, which was foolish of me, and was married, which was foolish of me. Then my wife died, which was foolish of her. Then I grew older and got sensible, and that was sensible of me. Well, I know what you're wondering now, why a man of such great sensibility would be thinking about getting married again. Well, the honest answer is, this house without a woman would be an empty shell, and rather dirty, too. It takes a woman of pound and pink to joyously clean out the drain in the sink. And it takes an angel with long golden lashes and soft moving fingers for dump in the ashes. Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh, yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life. The frail young maiden whose constantly there for washing and wooing and shoeing the mare. And it takes a female for setting the table and cleaning the Guernsey and cleaning the stable. Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life. And so she'll work until infinity, 3 years for humanity.
Rah, 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 F-E-M-I-T-Y.
And in the winter she'll shovel the ice, and Bob will be set out to trap the mice. She's a joy and treasure, for practically speaking, for who can get hurt when the plumbing is leaking?
That dainty woman, that fragile woman, that sweetheart, that mistress, that wife. Yes, it takes a woman,
A husky woman, to bring you the sweet things in life.
oh yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life.
Get out of here, all of you.
Congratulations, congratulations, 1,000 congratulations.
What are you talking about?
Congratulations, Mr. Vandergelder. All New York is buzzing with the news that you've practically proposed to Miss Irene Malloy. All my congratulations and sympathy.
Sympathy?
Did I say that? A slip of the tongue, that's all. No, I'm delighted with the happy news. She wasn't easy to unload. By that, I mean, you know what people say. Although I, for one, never believed the rumors. No, I didn't.
Rumors? What rumors?
Nothing to get upset about, Mr. Vandergelder. By all known facts, her first husband passed on quite naturally. It's just that he went so sudden. A few spoons of chowder that she made special for him, and poof! But it can happen to anyone. No, there's no truth in it. Just one word of advice. Keep away from the chowder.
Do you mean to tell me that Mrs. Malloy...
I mean to say nothing, Mr. Vandergelder, just friendly advice. Eat out. No, as I was saying, congratulations on your upcoming nuptials, and may you rest in... may guardian angels watch over you both, particularly at dinner.
Mrs. Levi, I still intend on calling on Mrs. Malloy this afternoon, as arranged.
Very well, then there's nothing more for me to do than go back to New York and tell the other woman, the heiress, not to wait.
What did you just say?
Nothing.
So that's when the waiters...
A word. Heiress.
Particulars, Mrs. Levi, particulars. I demand particulars. Her name.
Her name. Money. Ernestina Money.
Oh, what a lovely name.
Picture her now. Eyes as shiny as a newly minted dime. Eyes as big round as silver dollars. Skin as soft and mossy as an old
I
greenback.
can feel her now.
Age 19, weight 102, waist 47.
Waist 47!
That's with the money belt. Now, I could have it arranged that you meet her this very afternoon.
I don't have time, Mrs. Levi. I have to take my niece Ermengarde to New York till she forgets about a certain Ambrose Kemper.
I could do that for you, Mr. Vandergelder. I know just how to handle such things.
Well, then I'm marching in the 14th parade.
What an amazing coincidence. Guess who's been chosen to ride the main float, the Spirit of 14th Street? Miss Money. Her mother was a cash, you know.
All right, fine. I'll meet Miss Money, but not after I call on Mrs. Malloy.
Oh, what races you make me run. Very well, then I'll meet you in front of Mrs. Malloy's hat shop at 2:30 as usual.
One more thing, Mrs. Levi. What if I don't like Miss Money and I don't like Mrs. Malloy either?
Well, then I happen to have one more name on my list. A name I know as well as my own. But let's not get into that now. It'll all come up by itself in good time. Oh, but wait till you see Ernestina, Horace. A vision, a dream.
It takes a woman of pounding to joyously clean out the drain in the sink. And it takes an angel with bungled in ashes and soft resting fingers for dumping the ashes.
Yes, it takes so. Da 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 da. You know, Ephraim, I'm thinking I'll have that room up there done over in blue wallpaper. Yeah, in blue. Ermengarde, Ambrose, come on down here. We've got plans to make.
Good enough in 10 years, I'll be promoted to chief clerk again. When are we gonna begin to live, Barnaby?
You can live on holidays, Cornelius.
You remember what we did last Christmas? We spent all afternoon cleaning up them cans of rotten tomatoes. You call that living?
Well, no.
You know what, Barnaby? You and I, we're going to New York.
You mean close up shop?
Uh-huh.
Well, we can't do that, Cornelius.
Well, we'll have to. Some cans of rotten tomatoes are gonna explode.
Holy cabooses. How do you know that?
This here candle's how I know. You're gonna light it under them cans of tomatoes, and it's gonna make such a smell that customers won't be able to come in here for 24 hours. New York, Barnaby, we're gonna have a good meal. We're gonna be in danger. We're gonna spend all our money. We're gonna get arrested.
Holy cabooses.
And one more thing, Barnaby, we're not coming back to Yonkers until we've kissed a girl.
Well, you can't do that, Cornelius. You don't know any girls.
I'm 33 years old. I gotta start sometime.
Well, I'm only 17, and it ain't so urgent for me.
New York, Barnaby, the lights of Broadway, elevated train cars, and the stuffed whale at Burnham's Museum.
A stuffed whale?
Ah, stuffed whale, what do you say, Barnaby?
Yes, Cornelius, yes.
Now, the first thing we ought to do is to get you a job. I know, can you paint? Can you dance? Well then, my card. Now there's a man, Rudolph Reisenweber, at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant on 14th Street. I'll send a note with you, and we'll see if we can't have you entered into the polka contest tonight. The prize is a week's engagement and a golden cup. Oh, the cups we won, Ephraim and me.
Hold on, Mrs. Levi. Hold on, Mrs. Levi. That sounds all well and good, but you're asking Ermengarde to work there. And I'm surprised to say that you got acquaintances in a place like that.
Not acquaintances, Mr. Kemper. Friends. Dear friends from days gone by. Why, even when times were tough, every Saturday night down the Harmonia Gardens staircase we came like clockwork, Ephraim and me.
It's all very well to come down like clockwork, Mrs. Levi. But you're asking Ermengarde to work there.
It's the only way to show Horace that we mean business. Now you go and tell Rudolph that Dolly's coming back and she wants a table for two and a chicken for 8 o'clock tonight.
Bottom row looks all right down here, Cornelius. Now I'll light a candle under the ones on top.
Not too close. They look like they're ready to burst.
Holy cabooses, I can smell it up here.
Let's get dressed, Barnaby. We're going to New York. Out there, there's a world outside of Yonkers. Way out there beyond this hick town, Barnaby. There's a slick town, Barnaby. Out there, full of shine and full of sparkle. Close your eyes and see it glisten, Barnaby. Listen, Barnaby. Put on your Sunday school days, watch the world out there. Get out the brilliant and dime cigar. We're gonna find adventure in here. night it's the stars. Put on your Sunday clothes, we're gonna ride out in one of them two horse-drawn open cars. We'll see the shows at Delmont and Cozy. We'll close this town in a whirl, and we won't come home until we kiss the girl.
Put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out. Shut down the street and have your picture took. Dress like a dream, your spirit seems to turn about. But Sunday shine is a certain sign that you feel is if you compare us
So the world is all a smile. It makes you feel brand new down to your toes. Get out your feathers, your patent leathers, your beads and buckles and bows. For there's no blue Monday in your Sunday clothes. New York wanna be the lights of Broadway elevated train cars.
Wow.
And the stuffed whale at Burnham's Museum.
Holy cabooses.
Come on! Put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out. Shut down the street and have your pictures just like a dream, your spirit seems to turn about. That Sunday shine is a certain sign that you feel as fine as you look. Beneath the Paris, so the world is all a smile. Makes you feel brand new down to your toes. Get out your feathers, your patent leathers, your beads and buckles and bows. For there's no blue Monday in your Sunday clothes.
singing the
Lord, when the world's a simple song, along the road that makes you tilt your nose. Get out your slickers, your flannel knickers, your red suspenders and hose. For there's no blue Monday in your Sunday clothes.
Ermengarde, stop sniveling. Don't cry on the releases. We haven't missed a train yet, thank the Lord. Lovely, you're improving. Now get all 11 pieces. We're 7 minutes late. All aboard.
On your Sunday clothes and lots of world out there. They're riding practice. Ooh, like you find adventure in the evening air. The town will drop to that smoky spot where the girls are hot as a fuse. On your Mansfield padding at the turned up car. Where they raise button glove. We'll join the actors and total bastards and this a positive love. That we won't come home. That we won't come home. That we won't come home until morning glow.
earlier. Oh my, 10 o'clock and the shop's not open yet. It's all because of that impending marriage, I tell you. What marriage? Oh, I thought you knew. Why, the marriage Mrs. Dolly Levi is arranging between Mr. Horace Vandergelter, the well-known Yonkers half-a-millionaire, my employer and friend, Mrs. Irene Malloy. Although, if you ask me, he never take place of her late husband, Mr. Peter Malloy. Wherever he is, I'm not sure, but he was a caution, you know. Oh, it's all too much with late husbands and new marriages and Miss Mortimer returning this hat for the 3rd time. Cherries and feathers is what she wants, to catch a beau, I suppose, although if you ask me, she'd be better off with a nice, heavy veil. But I told her, but she'd have none of it. And she returned it on today of all days when poor dear sweet Mrs. Malloy has enough on her mind with what? With the door, it's stuck. Stuck, then push. Mrs. Malloy, I could bite my tongue for the things I've said and the things I'm going to say. But as long as I've gone this far, I might as well go all the way. Mrs. Malloy, why? Why? Say, Minnie, why have I decided to marry Horace Vandergelter? Oh, Mrs. Malloy, I would never ask you such a question. I would rather die on a rack than ask you that. But as long as you did bring it up. I'm marrying Horace Vandergelter for one reason and one reason alone, Minnie. To get away from the millinery business. I hate hats. Oh, Mrs. Malloy. And I can no longer stand being suspected of being a wicked woman with nothing to show for it. Mrs. Malloy. Don't protest, Minnie. That's why I can't go into balls or theaters or restaurants. Take my word for it, Minnie. Either I marry Horace Vandergelter or I break out of this place like a fire engine. Oh, no, Miss Mortimer again. Yeah, Miss Mortimer, but I'll take care of it. No, Minnie, leave it be. You can make another hat for Miss Mortimer. I'll be wearing this one myself. Oh, you can't wear that hat. You're a widow, and that hat, well, it's provocative, that's what. Is it, Minnie? Well, who knows, we may walk into the shop today, and provocative may just be what I want to be. Mrs. Malloy. Because a breeze might stir a rainbow behind me, that might happen to catch the gentleman's eye, and he might smile and take me by the hand this summer, making me recall how lovely love can be. And so I will proudly wear ribbons down my back, shining in my hair, that he might notice me wild horses can't make me ask the next question I'm going to ask. But I'm going to ask it anyhow. Do you love Mr. Horace Vandergelter?
No, Minnie, I don't. Peter Malloy, God rest him, was my share of love, and I'm not saying much. I was shortchanged. Once is enough for a woman, as long as it's true love, and it was that. Oh, look, Minnie, there's 2 men staring into the shop.
Men?
Why, I do believe they mean to come in here.
Oh, men in the shop, what shall we do?
Do? Why, flirt with them, of course. I'll give you the short one.
And you with all that talk about love.
Love enough I've had, Minnie. It's a bit of an adventure we could do with now. We'll get them all, heat them up, and then drop them cold. It'll be good practice for married life. Now you go into the workroom, Minnie. I have some way we can perk up our appearances. Besides, a bit of a way can make them nervous and easier for us
If you say kiss, I'll scream.
kiss.
Ah!
And so I'll try to make it easier to find me in the stillness of July. Because a breeze might stir a rainbow up behind me that might happen to catch the gentleman's eye.
Oh, this is an adventure we could do with now.
Barnaby, we spend all afternoon walking around the streets of New York, and we come to the quietest street, and all of a sudden,
Vandergelter!
is he still out there? Go look.
He's sitting right there on that bench. Oh, Cornelius, are you sure this is an adventure?
You'll know you're in an adventure when you're in one, Barnaby. Hey, how much money we got left?
Well, let's see here. We got 40 cents for the train, 30 cents for dinner, and 20 cents for the whale. That's 90 cents. Why?
Well, when them 2 women come out of the back, we'll make them think we're customers. Customers, that's it. And we'll make them think we're rich, so then we won't have to buy anything. Just 2 men about town looking for some hats. For ladies, of course. Good afternoon, Mrs.
Malloy.
Here, Cornelius Hackle.
Here, Barnaby Tucker.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Now what can I do for you?
Well, you see,
we're
we're
a
just
couple
2
of
ladies
hats
around town
about
looking
town,
for hats to
looking for
Malloy
some
with.
ladies
And you
to
think
meddle with.
we want hats. For ladies, of course, and we were told to come to Mrs. Malloy's because, you know, she's just so pretty, and I mean the hats are pretty.
And reasonable, too. As reasonable as under $1, so we still have enough for the whale.
Oh, don't mind him. He's come all the way from Yonkers, and he's just so excited to see the whale. If you look out that window, you might be able to see it pass by.
Is it big and black with beady little red eyes?
Uh-huh.
It's sitting right there on that bench.
Excuse me, but did you say Yonkers, Mr. Hackle?
Oh, yes, I did, and don't mind me for asking, but maybe you'd like to come see Yonkers someday, and by that I mean maybe Mr. Malloy would like to come along, too.
Oh, I'm a widow, Mr. Hackle.
You are? Barnaby, she's a widow! Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm sure Mr. Malloy would have enjoyed Yonkers in that hat. I mean on you, of course. You're a Catholic, aren't you? Well, I'm willing to change. Don't let that concern you. If you have a free evening in the future, I mean, I'd be willing to show you Yonkers from top to bottom.
Well, as a matter of fact, I might be there sooner than you think.
You will?
You see, I have a friend who lives in Yonkers.
You do?
Perhaps you know him.
Perhaps we do.
Although it's silly to ask in cases like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Mr. Vandergelter.
Horace Vandergelter!
Oh, Vandergelter's hay and feed.
Do you know him?
Oh, no,
no.
He's a substantial and well-liked man, they tell me.
Oh, a wonderful man. Well liked. There's only one flaw. He's as hard as nails.
Cornelius, I think.
Now, I wonder if your friend might like this one.
Watch out!
Mrs. Malloy, you gotta help us. You just, please, you got to.
Gentlemen, what are you doing?
We're innocent, Miss Malloy. As innocent as can be.
Gentlemen, come out here this minute, or I'll be forced to... Mr. Vandergelter.
Mrs. Malloy, I don't suppose Mrs. Levi is here, is she? She was supposed to meet me on that bench 10 minutes ago. Whenever I make an appointment, I like for people to be on time. Anyways, here's a present for you. Chocolate-covered peanuts, unshelled. That's the expensive kind. Did I just see you talking to two men in here?
Men. What would men be doing in a ladies' hat shop? Well, let's go into the workroom. I'm so anxious for you to see it.
You showed it to me last week.
So I did. Well, Mr. Hackle, Mr. Vandergelder, what's new in the hay and feed business? I understand that you have
What are you
3
talking
friends.
about?
Yonkers, I hear it's a beautiful city.
And who's telling you about Yonkers, may I ask?
Nobody. A friend.
What friend?
A customer, Mr. Vandergelder. Someone quite well-to-do, as a matter of fact. He was in here buying hats for ladies. You might even know him, although it's silly to ask in cases like that, isn't it? It's Mr. Cornelius Hackle.
Did you say Mr. Hackle?
Why, yes.
Well, he happens to be my chief clerk, that's all. Mrs. Malloy, I demand an explanation.
And I'm prepared to give you one. Why shouldn't she know Cornelius Hackle? He's one of the Hackles. He's here in all the fashionable homes. He's at the opera. I mean, he's at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 times a week.
That's impossible. He only has $146.38, and I keep it in my own safe.
Mr. Vandergelder, you're killing me. He's one of the Hackles. They built the canal.
What canal?
The Panama.
Theory. Both!
It ain't the same man.
Who took the horses out of Jenny Lynn's carriage and pulled her through the streets? Cornelius Hackle. And who stuck an oyster down Miss Astor's? Oh, I can't say, but it was Cornelius. He's the playboy of New York. Now, Irene, be honest. I can tell that you were taken with him just like every other woman.
Irene, what are you talking about? I've only known him once in my life. Really, Dolly,
Well, excuse me.
Of course.
Ah!
Minnie, hold your tongue.
There's a man in there. There's a man in there.
Mrs. Levi, there's a man in that closet.
No, you can't. It's too dangerous.
No man that hides in a woman's closet can frighten me.
No man, indeed. Oh, I can tell how strong you are, Mr. Vandergelder. I mean, just look at those muscles rippling back under your coat. Ripple, ripple, ripple.
Mrs. Levi, would you stand aside?
Stand indeed, Mr. Vandergelder. That's what they'll want to know when the officers come and charge you with entering that without a warrant. I mean, what do you stand for if you don't stand for the law of this great land? I know what I stand for. I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, Sir. Betsy Ross's flag is passing. Do you see it on the hill at Gettysburg? Neath that great triumphal arch. Do you see him as he's trampling through the grapes of wrath? Cinnamon march, march, march.
Has this not affected you, sir? I came here years ago as an immigrant girl from a land that oppressed my people. And I was echo here. What was said by that great patriotic American?
Moses!
I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, sir. There's a tear-stained eagle passing. Do you see him on the bridge at Waterloo? Neath the great triumphal arch. Do you see him as he's trampling through the grapes of wrath? Stand up and march, march, march. I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, sir. There's his flag is passing. Do you see him on the Gettysburg?
If I see, yes,
He's
like
great triumphal arch.
Oh, Stonewall Jackson.
If you see him as he's trampling through the grapes of wrath, stand up and march, march. 407 years ago. March, march.
To form a more perfect union.
March, march.
Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead.
March, march, march.
As you see, there couldn't possibly be a man in that closet.
God bless you.
Mrs. Malloy!
All right, Mr. Vandergelder, there is a man in that cupboard.
Aha!
And another under this table.
What the devil?
But there also happens to be a very simple explanation. But for the present, good afternoon.
Good Lord, Irene, the whole room's crawling with men. I take it I'll see you tonight, Mr. Vandergelder?
You sure will, Mrs. Levi, with a certain Miss Money on my arm.
Mrs. Malloy, I can't explain everything. You see, it's just
I do not wish to hear any explanations, Mr. Hackle. Just you and Mr. Tucker do me the pleasure of leaving my shop at once, or I will call Officer Gogarty.
Now, Irene, I say calling an officer's letting them off too easy. The law's courts, that's where they belong. I've been counting up the offenses these two have committed, and I believe that you've got at least rights for 2 writs, a non compos mentis, and a garnage. Now, what to do? Try to show that you tried to settle it amicably first. Have dinner with them.
dinner!
Is that absolutely necessary, Dolly?
It's the way things are done in the law, Irene. Dinner first, garnage afterwards.
Well, if it must be, Mr. Hackle, Mr. Tucker, you may take Miss Fay and I out to dinner.
Oh, delighted, Mrs. Malloy. I heard there's this really nice restaurant down by the train station.
If the Harmonia Gardens is good enough for your fashionable friends, it's good enough for us. I hear they have a lovely orchestra there, Minnie.
Oh, well, we couldn't do that. It's not the money or anything. It's just that it's the
It's the whale.
It's the whale. Oh, wait a minute. No, it's not the whale. It's the dancing. I mean, I don't know how, and it would take me weeks, months, years to learn. And I mean, I just go. Mrs. Dolly Levi, 33-year-old chief clerk, taught to dance.
Now what you do is try to put your hand up here and your hand down here.
Oh, it's no use. I don't got a sense of rhythm.
Absolutely no sense of rhythm is one of the primary requirements to learning by the Gallagher-Levi method. Just give me a few moments of your time, Mr. Hackle, and I'll have you dancing in the street. We'll start with lesson 7. The waltz kick turn. Right foot touch, left foot touch, under, back, around, touch, out, over, release, unfurl. That's wonderful when I think of the woman who will find heaven in your arms. Let's go back to lesson 1. Put your hand on her waist and stand with your right in her left hand. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Look, I'm dancing. Well, I was.
Of course you were, Mr. Hackle.
Look, I'm dancing.
Turn around and turn around, try floating through the air. Can't you be a little more aesthetic?
Don't you think my dancing has a polish and a flair?
The word I think I'd use is athletic.
For my heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop. And now that I'm dancing, who cares if I ever stop? I, Cornelius Hackle Sport, am dancing.
Your turn, Mr. Tucker. Step and step and step, then glide.
Now everyone stand aside.
He's dancing.
You could learn to polka if you were the week or so, or the tango filled with passion seething.
I'ma join the choir at the Castle Garden.
Whatever you do, for God's sakes, keep breathing.
For my heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop?
did she?
You should take an airport call.
Ephraim, let me go. It's been long enough, Ephraim. Every night for the past 12 years, I've put out the cat, I've locked the door, I've poured myself a little rum toddy, and before I went to sleep, I said a prayer, thanking God that I was independent and that nobody else's life was mixed up with mine. Then one night, an oak leaf fell out of my Bible. I put it there when you asked me to marry you, Ephraim. A perfectly good oak leaf, but without life and without color. And suddenly I realized that I was like that leaf. Not for years had I shed a tear or felt the wonderful feeling that something or other would turn out well. So I've decided I'm rejoining the human race. And Ephraim, I want you to give me away. Rain passes by. I'm gonna go and step while there's still time left before the bride passes by. Marching. Why, Irene, you're crying. Dolly, the world is full of wonderful things. Come with us, Dolly. I will, Irene. I will. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna go and chase sanity's high. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna get some life back into mine. I'm ready to move out of towns. I've had enough of just passing by life with the rest of them, with the best of them. I can hold my head up high, for I gotta move again. I've gotta drive again. I'm gonna feel my heart coming alive again before the parade passes by. Look at that crowd up ahead. Listen and hear that brass harmony
Stop, you pickpocket. Put that back. I paid for that girl. I want all the parts.
Nothing to get upset about, Mr. Vandegouter, just a last-minute substitution. Miss Ernestina had a previous appointment at the Mint. The replacement's filling in, and you'll see her tonight at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant on 14th Street.
The Harmonia Gardens, that's the most expensive restaurant in the city.
And well, it should be. What food! And the fastest waiters in New York. By the way, I might be running a little late, so you'll have to meet Ernestina without me.
All right, fine. I'll meet Miss Money, but not after, only because I paid for that girl, and I might as well get my money's worth.